welcome back to another episode of Talking Tongue, the weekly quarantine show where I get to talk to my friends near and far. And today, I really mean far. They are so far. How many stone throws away are you, Kalvin Nhan?
I mean, it depends. If you've got a really good arm, maybe like only 2 or 3. But
what? That's only 2 or 3. You have a really good arm then.
a good couple thousand.
Okay, good throws. Couple thousand stone throws. And yes, we talk about all things that are mostly not important to the world, like movies most of the time on this show, TV shows, sometimes video games. I think we're going to have a video game one coming up soon, but that's not what we're talking about today. I'll tease it out for later. But Kalvin, everyone, welcome back into the pod cavern.
Hey, Tuong, it's good to be here. Good to have some good conversations.
Yes, I'm excited. If you have not heard, Kalvin, Anime Expert, was on the top 5 anime shows for beginners. Had a lot of opinions about that one. You still watching anime, Kalvin, after that episode?
Oh, yeah. I will say I had to go back and rewatch some because I was like, man, like, did I not really pay attention? Because this is great, you know? And it made me reevaluate certain animes that I guess I wrote off or something like that.
Yeah, you want to give me an example of an anime that you wrote off that you're now like on board with?
Okay, so as a kid, Neon Genesis Evangelion, I was like, well, what's going on? Like, I loved mech shows, but it was like these humanoid alien mechs. I'm like, I'm not about that shit.
Yeah.
And then now I'm rewatching it and I'm like, it's so psychological. And I'm just
I haven't, because that's one of the shows that I want to go back to. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, for sure there's sexy ladies in skin tight outfits that, pilot cool mechs. But is there more to the show than that?
It is. It talks about like mentality and it goes into like dealing with trauma and stuff. And I think it kind of gives you that like deeper level because, I mean, obviously I grew up watching shonen anime where it's like, I'll just scream until, I'm stronger than you.
Yeah.
So it was different. It was different. And
that's so funny you say that because and not to make this already an anime podcast, which today is not, but just because you're here, I've been watching a show, Hunter x Hunter, for people who don't know, Hunter x Hunter. And I've never seen it before. And that is peak shonen anime. Like, it's just like, I don't know, just a very bubbly, enthusiastic, positive protagonist and some cool fighting. I don't know. I've only 10 episodes in, so I'm really liking it.
You're watching the new version, like the 2011, not the old one, right?
I didn't know there was an old one.
So originally Hunter x Hunter was, there was an older version of it.
Yeah.
And it only went up to 33 episodes and it just capped it off there.
Oh.
And then like they remade it almost like a Dragon Ball Super type sort of thing, and then like they continued it and now like it's done, but it was like, oh my god, the animation was better, the story continues. So if you're watching the older one, go watch the newer one.
I think I'm watching the new one. It's on Netflix.
Okay, then yeah.
Anyways, it's not about anime. It's not about the shows that I'm watching. We're talking about Kalvin today, everyone. Kalvin, some people don't know who you are. They didn't listen to the anime episode on Ranked Top 5 list of stuff that don't matter. Go watch or go listen to that episode. But for the people who don't know who you are, what is Kalvin all about?
So I'm a part-time business instructor at Humber College. I am now currently in a foreign country.
Yes.
Which is why we're talking about stone throws, because I'm currently in Bermuda,
right,
and working a consulting job.
That is so fascinating. When we started in the pre-show here, Kalvin and I were talking and he's like, I'm in Bermuda. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, no, you're not. And then he tries to open up his curtains to show me, which I couldn't see anything because it's very bright out there.
Yeah, it's super bright right now.
So he can literally be anywhere, but I trust him that he's in Bermuda. What's that like, being in a different country and in a different world that, is different than, where we are from, Ontario. Like it's a kind of different out there, right?
Well, I was in Toronto before, and as you guys know, Toronto it's just moved into the gray zone, so things are getting slightly better, but people are still very, very quarantined. And on the island, it's an island, so it's super easy to control who gets to come in and who doesn't get to come in, and because of that, and it's like when you come in, there's like very, very heavy restrictions on what you can do. You're tested for COVID-19 like 3 or 4 times when you get
Wow.
here, just in case like you get a false negative.
Right.
And because of that, restaurants are open. I just got a haircut like yesterday.
Yeah, you look good. That's insane.
Thank you, man.
That's impressive.
I was in the barber shop and I was so excited. And like they're all looking at me like, what's wrong with you? Why are you so? I'm like, oh my God, I haven't had a haircut in forever.
And you're like, you don't know what it's like out there.
The most popular haircut in Toronto right now is the man bun for a reason.
That's so fascinating. I wanted to pick your brain about being in Bermuda and all that. And I guess like you're there temporarily. Do you want to leave? I guess to come back.
I really enjoy it here.
Yeah.
Home is still definitely Canada.
For sure,
but,
of course.
I mean, it's nice that you're close to the ocean. Seafood is really like accessible, and the fact that I can walk in and sit down in a bar is pretty nice right now.
That's insane. I can't even imagine that world anymore. So it's just like it's such a nice little, I guess, break for you in ways. I mean, I know you're working, so you're not on a break, but at least the world around you, at least you can leave your house. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yes, I think that is definitely just the difference.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so cool. Okay, well, besides Bermuda, what else has been keeping you positive and happy during the pandemic?
Well, I mean, I think I've just gone back to my weeby roots, and I know we didn't want to go back to anime, but
we're going back to anime. Let's go back to anime. Yes.
I think it was just being able to go back to something that I loved, and I had the opportunity to just like take the time out to do, because like once you get slightly older, you things start happening and things start to fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
And getting to relive or getting to re-examine all the things that made you happy as a younger person was kind of like a gift that the pandemic did give us. It was like, hey, we took everything else away, but here, you can have this.
Yes. Yeah, that's such a good point. I mean, I feel like I might have talked about this in previous episodes of Talking Tongue, but like the way I've been like thinking about things lately is just like, yes, I get to reconnect with like anime and television and video games in ways that like I was maybe too busy for before. But now that we live in these times, I'm like, fuck that. I'm going to, in my spare time, I'm going to watch anime because it makes me feel good. I'm going to play video games because I wanna, just to keep myself at like a base level of sanity. And yeah, for myself, like we definitely talked about this before of like, I think as you get older, you're like, oh man, I'm going to reach a point where like, I think anime is lame. Is it just for kids or whatever? And it's like, no, I'm 31 now. I still love this shit. And nobody can tell me it's just for kids because I want to watch it. So
exactly. And I think there was like, okay, so there have been certain series that I will watch solely for the nostalgia aspect of it.
Sure.
Like,
of course.
I'm gonna say Boruto. Now, I know that's like the first like reaction. We're like, oh my god. But I mean, seeing like Naruto and Sakura and Kakashi, it's a thing that just makes you happy. And
yeah.
As kind of garbage as it is, it's
sure.
a good feeling you get.
Yeah. That's so interesting. What else, besides like anime, is there anything else that you've been like doing to keep yourself, that makes you want to get up every morning?
Well, I have been getting really into, like, I guess more into coffee and like doing like like, you know, like when you're busy, you're just like gonna rush into a Starbucks or a Tim's and just like pick up whatever. But like now I'm like, ooh, like I'm gonna try percolation. We'll try these like expert bag coffee. And you know, like you get to learn different things and you're like, oh, this was a bad idea. Let's not do this.
That's funny. I'm super. I'm not sure how into coffee I am. As in, like, I love. Okay, sorry. I love coffee. I'll drink like 3 cups every morning, like something ridiculous. But I don't. I'm not like in love with the process of making coffee. Like I've had coffee, like drip coffee versus, I don't know, French press coffee and all this stuff. And at the end of the day, I'm just like, I just want coffee. I don't care how it's made, except for instant, like whatever, just give it to me. And we've also had, like, not too long ago, we had, I guess it's been like a year now, but we've had like I think it's raccoon poo coffee or something. It's like, you know what I'm talking about?
It's like a specific type of like marsupial. It like eats the
Yeah.
coffee bean, poops it out, and
Yeah.
apparently makes it super great.
It is really good, but when people like describe it, I'm like, that's gross. But now I'm just like looking at poop because it, like, at least where I am, all the snow's melting. So I'm just like, do I just bring that home and turn it into coffee?
If a cat can eat coffee,
Maybe this is why my dog continuously eats shit along his walks, is because he knows there's caffeine in there.
You know, sometimes you just got to listen to nature, you know, like they know.
Yeah, good that we're talking about poop at the top of the show here.
This is going to be a good episode.
It's going to be a great episode, and I'm excited because Kalvin and I, for those of you who don't know, of course nobody knows this, but Kalvin and I go way, 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 way back. I mean,
oh man, like long days,
long time. We went to Vietnamese school together. We did Taekwondo together. Kalvin was always better at both of those things over me. I was not paying attention to Vietnamese school.
It's okay. He was focusing on the more important aspect of talking to women, and I was looking at the board. So let's see who has better priorities.
I wonder if like I could do like a go back in time Freaky Friday thing. I'm like, if I only tried just a little bit to learn Vietnamese, I would have a way better time talking to my grandparents. Because I would just like in the corner, I'd be like, man, Kalvin and everyone around me at the school really know how to speak Vietnamese. Why am I not like that? And then I would just go and talk to like girls or like just completely be distracted from not doing my homework or whatever it was.
You know what? Everyone's picking up different skills. As long as you're learning in school, that's the only thing that matters.
That's right. It's not about the content on the board. It's on the content outside the classroom.
Thinking outside the box.
Thank you. All right, let's get into the news stories of the week. Of course, on Talking Tongue, they're not real news stories. These are just pulled from IGN.com. This is the first time I'm reading them. They're just headlines that I'm finding. And we're going to start with this one. Here we go, Kalvin. Harry Potter RPG, Hogwarts Legacy, will reportedly allow for transgender characters. Which is a big deal because J.K. Rowling is the worst. So
she is kind of the worst.
She's kind of the worst. I mean, we've talked about J.K. Rowling on Talking Tongue before, but we've never heard your opinions. Thoughts?
I was honestly kind of surprised because she was like she made Dumbledore gay. And I was like, oh, okay, so she must be an ally. And then she goes off and says the complete opposite. And I'm like, maybe she's not. You know,
it's an interesting line to draw between like fighting for, I guess fighting, quote unquote, like making Dumbledore gay is not exactly fighting, but I would say like defending gay rights versus transgender rights. Like she drew a line in the sand in a weird spot. And
on
it's just,
Twitter, of all places.
It's just like, why? Like you understand you're doing, you're like it's just like a weird like messed up thought process of being like, oh, okay, well we can defend these people, but those people like no.
Oh, they're wearing red hats? Screw those people. Screw the red hats.
It's like, what? Come on. But that's cool that this video game that a lot of people, not including myself, I'm not sure how excited I am for a Harry Potter game. At least those people can be a little bit more happy, I guess. Like I feel like a lot of people are hesitant on buying Harry Potter merch these days and like getting into like Harry Potter video games because of J.K. Rowling. But at least someone up there in the studios was like, no, we should let transgender characters be in Harry Potter because they're real people too.
Now, I guess the better question is, how much of a stake does J.K. Rowling have in this game?
That's true. And I heard it's not that much. But I don't know what that means.
Okay, because it's like, hey, oh yeah, we're gonna have transgender characters in the game, but then money's still going to J.K. Rowling because she owns the rights to the characters, and you're just like,
Yeah, that is. I read a very fascinating article on this, and I'm not going to repeat it because I can't remember all of it. But mostly that it's just the battle of being a Harry Potter fan now, and what that means, and like how do you love a thing that has inspired you in many ways to become the person you are today, but the person who created it is also shitty. Like, you know?
Yeah, it's difficult. I think you have to like you can't support her, but at the same time you can enjoy the product, I guess. It's like it's being able to separate the creator from the art.
It's
now
yeah.
I guess like from like a monetary perspective, then you don't want to. It's complicated.
It's well, that's the crux of the article. It's just like, yeah, it's complicated. Like I think other people, I have no judgment of like, I have no problem reading those books again because I don't like, I'm really bad with when it comes to like who wrote a book, who directed a movie, who's in this, who's in that. I just care about the content of the thing that I'm consuming. So when I read Harry Potter, I really try not to think about J.K. Rowling because I don't care. Like I really more care about like Harry and the gang and stuff like that. But of course, like since J.K. is so big and such a looming factor these days, I wonder if I go back, I'll start reading it in a different light. But yeah, I think like in 2021, my thoughts are fuck J.K. Rowling, but I still like Harry Potter to a degree,
Now, I guess the better question is this going to be like one of those VR ones, like Pokemon Go, but you're just a wizard casting spells at each other?
That would be freaking
that
cool.
That might change whether or not I want to play it or not.
That would be freaking cool. I would be down. What else do we have in the news? We have some heavier topics today that I was not anticipating, but we'll just gloss over it.
Okay.
Dr. Seuss Enterprises to stop publishing 6 books containing hurtful depictions. You might have heard this. They're going to stop writing or publishing the following books. And to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street, If I Ran the Zoo, McElligot's Pool, On Beyond Zebra, Scrambled Egg Super, and The Cat's Quizzer.
I can honestly tell you I've never seen any of those books.
Me neither. I just wanted to see if you had... Wait, but is Scrambled Egg Super... Is that green eggs? No, that's
no, because green eggs and ham is green eggs and ham.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The scrambled egg super is not that.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Not the one that we know. Who cares?
I was gonna say like I was ready to just be like, oh, I care about this story, and then I'm like, I didn't realize it was these books, and I'm like, I've literally never read these books, so I don't care.
I think for Dr. Seuss, it's just Cat in the Hat, green eggs and ham.
Yep.
And like honestly, that's it. That's the only ones I can remember.
Yeah, right. The Lorax, maybe, but I don't even remember. Oh, that was
a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even remember the Lorax. So it's really just green eggs and ham.
Yeah.
Now, if they got rid of that one, I mean, if they got rid of it because of racist depictions, I get it. But if they got rid of that one, I'd be a little sad.
Yeah, I think I'd be like, oh man, like how did I not see that before? But it's okay. Green eggs and ham, we're still safe.
We're still good. That's it. Whew, good. Would you eat green eggs and ham?
Honestly, I would, Sam. I am. I would eat green eggs and ham.
Okay, that's the answer I was looking for. Here we go. Scientists are creating smart OLED tattoos that can glow.
I think that's kind of cool. Like, I mean, okay, like I'm picturing it now. Like, okay, so that one episode in Fairy Tale where they like rebring the tree back up and then everyone's like tattoos kind of glow. You can
Okay.
have that anytime you want.
Whoa. And here, I was just okay. So I'm going to read a small little sentence here. It says
Uh,
apparently the OLED tattoos is like on a. It looks like when you get the Dollarama, you just put that tattoo on your arm. It looks like it's
mhm.
one of those. It's an OLED tattoo paper, and you press it against the skin with a wet cloth. And then the smart tattoos are easily removed by scrubbing with soap and water. So it literally sounds like a Dollarama
Okay.
tattoo,
But they glow like
but they glow.
in the dark?
If they don't glow in the dark, then how can you pitch it to glow?
I don't know. Like, because I was thinking when you first said that they stuck it on and then it started to like emit light, not just glow in the dark, which is like totally different, right?
Right, you're right. You're right. Okay, what kind of tattoo would you want that glows in the dark?
Ooh, probably Keanu Reeves.
Okay, how
Keanu
much
Reeves
Keanu Reeves?
in any form, maybe like a silhouette of him as like Neo, or like just his face, just
Just his
right
face.
there.
Wow, wow. That's
And you wouldn't even need to like look too far where you're like, what would Keanu Reeves do? Yeah, Keanu, what would you do?
you know what? I love that. I love that. For myself, whatever part of Keanu Reeves you didn't get tattooed, I get the second half.
So then we could like walk together and
Yeah.
just be like Keanu Reeves combined.
Yeah. So I guess like you go half his face down, I get the other half, and then we would just have to basically hold hands. So people would
You could do those like cool Power Ranger poses where you're like back to back, and then like you just kind of put your arm out, and so it's like half of his face is here, and then half of his face is on your arm.
Yes. Now you're talking, and then when you combine it, something. Oh, we merge. Obviously, we merge together, and Keanu Reeves comes out.
Like Captain Planet.
Yes, as you can see, like the anime brain is really thinking right now. Okay, what else we have? We have. Oh, did you see that? The Space Jam 2 images have been released.
I have not.
You have
I
not
have
seen. We have
not.
LeBron, obviously. We have Bugs Bunny. There was a whole thing on the internet. Now, like, how much do you love Space Jam?
I love Space Jam.
Okay, me
Is
too.
this gonna hurt me deeply?
No,
Oh, okay,
no.
good.
Well, I
Good,
don't
good,
think
good.
so. It looks different, but like there's more like 3D CGI looking characters now instead of just straight up cartoon. And like I
Okay.
just watched Space Jam again on my birthday a couple days ago, and I watch Space Jam once a year. Like that's kind
Mhm,
of like I
mhm.
just love this movie so fucking much. So Space Jam 2, I'm ready for it. And there was a thing on the internet where the internet blew up because Lola Bunny is one of my cartoon crushes from back in the day.
Me too.
We all know why.
Yeah.
We all know why. She's very seductive, very provocative. Her
Great at
eyes
basketball.
great at basketball. Her eyes are always provocative. She's wearing like a cropped, I don't have to describe Lola Bunny. I might get too excited. But
Agreed.
the
Agreed.
Lola Bunny on the internet, they were comparing images between this movie and the old movie. And it's like you got the first Lola Bunny who has like very curvy and all this other stuff. Very weird because it's a bunny.
Mhm.
And then the second Lola Bunny who is wearing like a baggier shirt, basketball shirt, seemingly, this doesn't matter, but seemingly more flat chested. Again, doesn't matter.
Oh,
It's a bunny.
okay. Yeah.
And it was funny to see the reactions of the internet because,
You're attacking someone's childhood, especially someone who loves the movie. So, like, I mean, like, they're definitely going to have a reaction to that.
yeah, it was a weird reaction as someone like, we just had this like reaction of like, oh yeah, Lola Bunny. But I'm also
So good.
like, not like, oh, why doesn't she have a bigger rack or something? Like,
Uh-huh,
it's just,
uh-huh.
I don't care about that. Like, it's just a weird reaction that's not surprising to have, that other people would have.
I think the best thing we need to think about is as long as it works for Bugs, that's what we got to think about. That's
Yes.
all.
Yeah.
Because he is the bunny in this situation,
Right.
If it works for him, power to him,
You know what? I'd be down if Lola Bunny swung both ways. Give it to me.
You know what? Go for it.
Go for it. I would feel weird if she started swinging interspecies. I guess
That would be strange because I don't know how that would work operationally.
I don't want to imagine. I'm already starting to. I don't want to. If she
Me
starts
too.
having the hots for LeBron, then I'm out. Then I'll be angry.
Yes, that would be a weird thing to have on it because it's essentially a TV kids movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But there is a shot of LeBron, and this is why I'm already like getting excited. Is he has like an aura around his arm and looks like he's about to dunk. Think about like a Super Saiyan blue aura around just his arm about to dunk, and I'm like, all right, you guys are onto something here.
I mean, someone on the creative team, maybe they started watching like Kuroko or something, and he's like in the zone.
Yes, exactly. Anyways, Space Jam 2, that's happening soon.
That's good. It's good. It's I think one of the nice things is like there have been really good movies that I've always thought should have had sequels and never did, and then now suddenly like they're getting sequels. Like Eddie Murphy's Coming to America 2.
Right.
Like I'm so stoked to watch that.
Actually, it's called Coming to America. That's all it, because of course it is.
You know what? Well played.
Yeah, it's like, oh, where can we put the 2? Oh, I know.
It's right here.
Genius. Yeah. Speaking of 2, there's a couple 2 things I can talk about, which is not that important. I'll just gloss over this. A Quiet Place 2 has had its release date moved again.
Okay.
Which is, I feel like every time a movie gets moved, that movie is going to come out to a less excited audience.
Of course. It's like someone's going to blow out the candles on a birthday cake, right? And they're like, I'm going to do it. And like the 4th time that happens, people are like, I don't care anymore.
I just
like,
don't care.
Give me some cake.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah, I don't know. I was excited for the movie, but it's literally been delayed like a year and a half from its original release. So it's kind of like,
okay.
What are we doing here? It's kind of like going into a Disney thing like Black Widow. If they delay that again, and they plan to have this in theaters, and I think this is going to bleed into our movie a little bit, but if they plan to have it in theaters and they need to delay it again, like Marvel, the big machine of Marvel has cogs turning in so many places. And now that with WandaVision that just finished, and we can talk about that in just a second, I think you can't really delay the movie again because movies and TV shows have to come out at a specific time with Marvel, you know?
Yeah, because they have interconnected like TV shows. And it's not like the DC world where it's like, Zack Snyder does whatever he wants. Yeah. And then like, the Arrowverse has its own thing.
Sure.
Marvel has a connection. It's like a shared universe.
Yeah. So I feel as though with the movie we'll talk about, they might have to do the Disney Premier Access thing, which I definitely need to talk to you about that in a second because you had a thing about that. But before we move on, did you watch WandaVision just finished? Do you watch that stuff?
I actually just started. So I got Disney Plus for the movie that we're going to talk about. And then I'm like, oh, cool. WandaVision's here. I'll just start watching it. So I'm like on episode 2.
Okay.
Everyone's like, oh, did you like this? And I'm like, la, 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 la. Don't tell me.
Good. I'm surprised you didn't see anything. That's great. You had an error watching the movie over a week. So how about, you know what? Let's stop talking about the news stories because I keep dancing around it. Kalvin, what movie did we watch for this week? Set it up for
we
us.
watched Raya and the Last Dragon.
The world's broken. You can't trust anyone.
Maybe it's broken because you don't trust anyone. You just have to take the first step. I just shape changed.
Dragons can do that?
Look how close my butt is to my head. It's gonna make digestion so much faster.
Oh, so good. Just so good.
Good. All right. So I really wanted to watch. I guess is it Raya or Raya? I think it's Raya.
I think it's Raya. Sorry.
Don't need to apologize to me. I'm not Raya. So, yeah, Raya and the Last Dragon. It just came out, and it was one of the movies that is Disney Premier Access. It's the second movie that has done this. The first being Mulan, and the second one being this one, where you pay, I think, $35 to own it, and see it in advance, because it will eventually come to Disney Plus for all users, like let's say 6 months to a year from now or whatever. But yourself, you tried to watch this movie and you couldn't.
I did. So so I tried to pay for it, couldn't find the link, and I was like, oh no, like I need to watch this movie for this podcast. And so I'm like, what if I just torrent it? But then I realized, I'm like, hey, like, people have put so much money and time into this movie. I really should, support them and support the art, And then so like, luckily this morning I went on and realized that my VPN just wasn't really working. And so once I fixed that, then, the link popped up and I had to like just watch it super quick to like, get on the podcast and know what I was talking about.
There you go. Wow. I was going to say, can you even say that you teed something on this show? I don't want to implicate you, especially when you're in Bermuda, but saying that you paid for it, which you did, is a good thing.
Well, it's not just that. It's like, I wanted to let Disney know that like these are the type of movies that I want them to keep making. These are the type of stories that I want them to keep telling. Yeah. So that's you know what?
That's a really interesting point. And I think my partner, Laura, she brought this up the other day too. And she was basically like, oh, people still torrent movies? And I'm like, yeah, for sure they do. Cause in my past, you can't implicate me, government. In my past, in my youth, I may have found ways to get movies, and not explicitly paying for it and all that stuff, because it was harder back then, I found, to get that stuff. And yeah, I've now that we've matured, Kalvin, you and I, we're much older now, of course. I don't. And I have an adult job too. I'm not working at Superstore anymore. I can afford to pay for art that I like. And I think what you just said makes a lot of sense, because like, I think some people are like, fuck you, Disney, I'm not giving you any of my money, but I liked your movie, which is a weird thing. But I like the idea of, it's like, well, I'm paying you, Disney, because I like what you just gave me and I want you to make more of that thing. There's a big difference on that, I think.
I think at the end of the day, if you enjoy the arts, then to some degree, there needs to be some sort of like monetary support that goes there, whether it is, you're going to buy the ticket to see the movie, you're going to buy an action figure, you're going to buy, shares in the company or something like that, so there needs to be something, or else, no matter how big a company is, it still functions like a normal corporation. It's gonna die if nothing flows in,
Yes, and I think everyone can have their opinions on Disney as a corporation and stuff, and like I do too. Of course I do. But like at the end of the day, they have made some of my favorite content ever. And I think it's important, and this goes beyond just Disney. I think I was reading something the other day where someone posted like this amazing, beautiful art of like, it was like a crossover of like some of my favorite bands, like in one little like artistic drawing that someone like watercolor painted and stuff. I'm like, that's really cool. And the person like put in their like Etsy or like Shopify link, and someone's just like, hey guys, I paid $0 and I was able to print this like an amazing copy at like Staples. And everyone else in the comments was like, hey, fuck you, buddy. You're a bad person. Support this artist. They spent a long time making this. And that was amazing to see.
I think we've come to a point where like we have started to recognize that, like, effort goes in and effort needs to be rewarded, or else there's no reason for you to keep doing this. And obviously, art has expression as well, but I mean, people still have bills to pay,
Yes.
So like that money or that time that went into that piece of art, you know, that's got to translate to something so that this person can still continue to do that, you know?
Wouldn't it be nice if like you can be a full-time artist? And I know that's the reality of so many people out there, but for a lot of people, it's not. It's like you're doing it because you love it, and you'll spend all your free time on it, and you end up losing money because other people won't pay you for it. And it's just it's an interesting thing. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Raya. So,
Yes, we are.
Yeah, yes, we are. But I wanted to bring that up because I think it's just a fascinating conversation overall in terms of like torrenting stuff like in the past, and especially with Disney Premiere. I think like because you throw it onto the internet digitally, it is so much easier to find like HD version of that movie right away. Whereas like when it releases in theaters, you have that like 6 to 8 month window where like the best you can find is like a cam version of something, right?
Yeah, some guy shaking cam, he's there. Some guy gets up for popcorn.
Yeah, exactly.
And stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But like I know for sure that there are really good copies of Raya and the Last Dragon out there now. Probably. This movie just released. So
Yeah.
and it kind of brings it back to this, like, and we'll speak about the movie non-spoilery first and then spoilers, is that there is a headline when I looked at Raya and the Last Dragon. It just came out 2 days ago of this recording, and people already are like news headlines are like, oh, Raya and the Last Dragon, oh, it released at an abysmal $8.6 million debut, blah, blah, blah. Like it didn't make a lot of money. I don't actually think it's because of piracy. I think it's because these numbers are reflected on the box office in theaters. And I'm just like, wait, did you expect people to go to theaters like right now?
Hey, like how many countries have open theaters right now? You know, like,
yeah,
honestly, come on.
I just think that's it's just a stupid number. And it's just kind of like, I guess I'm kind of mad about it because it's showing this movie in a bad light, a movie that we just watched and I really like. And it's kind of like, oh, nobody wants to see this. And it's like, no, if this number was higher, I'd be concerned. People are leaving the house then. You know?
I mean, show support, but also please show support to people that are like, you know, combating the pandemic as well. I feel like there's got to be priorities there.
Yeah. It's a weird number. I wonder if Disney continues this trend with like their other movies like Black Widow and all of the Marvel movies. Because I've done this twice now. I did it for Mulan. I did it for this. And I don't mind paying the $35. Mind you, I split an account with Laura's family too. So it ends up being like $17, which is like the price of one movie ticket, I guess.
Prices of movie tickets have gone up so high since
yes,
we were kids.
Right? Like, oh. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know where I'm going with that rather than just like just setting up that like Disney Premiere Access is an interesting concept. I'm very curious as to where it goes now. Did not mind paying for the movie because it was so good. Now let's talk about it. Kalvin, you like the movie?
I love the movie. I thought it was so like I think it really hit home for me.
Yeah.
And like the thing is, when you saw like the way the characters were designed, like, you know, like animated characters, oftentimes they're either caricatures or they're designed in a way that doesn't really make you identify them as the race that they're supposed to be.
Sure.
But I remember looking at her dad and I'm like, oh, that is definitely like a Viet person or a Thai person right there. And so I think I was just flabbergasted that they were able to do that so well.
Yeah, me too. And I was just like looking at the dad. I'm like, that's like a younger version of my dad. Like,
actually, I know. It's okay. So obviously, I know Tung's dad.
Yeah.
So he did sort of look like that when he was
yeah,
younger.
He's like darker toned, like obviously thinner, and he can use a sword. I don't think my dad can do that. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe in his younger years. But it was interesting because at first I thought I was like, is this in Vietnam? That's what I initially thought in the first like 10 minutes because they were calling the father Ba. And I was like, is this like dad in Vietnamese, but then I realized it's like, no, this is a fantasy world. This is Kumandra. It's not a real. This is just a Southeast Asian inspired fake country.
Well, okay. So on that note,
Yeah.
like, so when I saw him in his traditional dress, I'm like, okay, that's definitely something Cambodian, definitely something like Thai. So I'm like, okay, cool. But then I saw, shoot, what was her name? Barinti. No,
The names are
Fang.
hard in this movie. That's what I'll say.
I think they were Fang, the last one that they got.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't remember the names. That's my only thing is like I can't remember the names besides Raya and Sisu.
There you go.
Yeah.
But like they had like the undercut, and then they had like the earrings, and I'm like, oh my god, they're all Vietnamese ABGs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you're the Viet one, the other one's the Thai one, and then there's like an Indian one and stuff. I'm like, this is so great. This is so cool.
It is great. And I love it's just such a cool, and maybe it's because we're both Asian, spoilers, but like it's nice to see.
Oh my god.
It's nice to see that on the screen, like to see just a Southeast Asian inspired Disney film. And it's so cool because it's just like the things that I love. This movie has like dragons. This movie has action and has sword fighting, a really cool fucking sword, by the way. Raya's sword is so cool. It has like almost a video game quest structure to it. It reminds me a lot about Avatar: The Last Airbender in a lot of qualities. I'm not sure if you got some vibes.
Yeah, I think Tuk Tuk and Appa they remind me of each other,
Yeah. That and just like the different factions that don't like each other and like coming together. And it's just, there's a lot to like in this movie, I think.
I think the one criticism I can have is I didn't enjoy that it started and then jumped around a little bit. Like, I think it would have been better if it just started when she was a girl and then just moved forward. But it was like, because it wasn't even really that long. It was just like a rider riding in the darkness through a wasteland. And it was just then I'm like, why did you need to do this? Just start it when the story starts.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I agree. A small criticism nonetheless, but yes. I also want to celebrate the cast in this movie too, because the cast are all Asian. Or a lot of them are, and it's really cool. I mean, Mulan was like that too, the newest Mulan.
Yeah.
And I don't, with that movie, it was weird because it was like, yes, you have an Asian cast, but I know the people who made the movie were not exactly Asian. And in this movie, I didn't do enough digging, but it looks like the writers, one of them's name's Qui Nguyen. So like Adele Lim, it's like, oh, those are Asian people. Like, you know what I mean? Although like one of the directors is Don Hall, which sounds pretty white. We have Carlos Lopez Estrada. Like, there just seems a little bit more diversity in here.
Yeah.
We have people like Kelly Mary Tran, who voices Raya. Good for her, by the way. Like I'm so happy for her because she really got bullied when she did Star Wars, and it's nice to see her get work again.
Exactly. Like, I mean, I thought that it was like, once you're in something as big as Star Wars, like, you're good, you've got a golden ticket. But then like I read some of the articles and I'm like, man, that really sucks for her.
She got bullied off the internet. People shat on her because they didn't like her character in Star Wars. Toxic fan base. She actually wasn't supposed to be in this movie. It was supposed to be somebody else. And that person dropped out, and Kelly Mary Tran jumped in, and I'm like, great. She killed it.
Yeah, no, she represented, so well played.
Yeah, I was happy. Aquafina is in this. Good for her too.
Yes, I love that when they had Raya become a human, she was just Aquafina.
Yeah.
I thought that was
you mean
cool.
Sisu? Sisu became a human.
Yeah, sorry. Aquafina became a dragon. Then became
yes.
But when Sisu went and got the one gem that made her like shape change, she just became Aquafina.
Yeah. Yes.
And I was like, well, good for you. Now you have like because like, okay, obviously Raya doesn't look anything like
Kelly Mary Tran. Yeah.
Kelly Mary Tran. And like, that's just the design of the character. But it was cool that they were able to like add her in like a digital format into the movie. So
Yes,
cool.
I agree. Sisu definitely. I was like, yep. It took me a little while to click that it was Aquafina because I didn't look ahead of time. But once she turned to human, I'm like, that's Aquafina, which I really love. By the way, we will be spoiling this movie at some point, so watch out. But here, I'm going to list a couple more names. Isaac Wang, Gemma Chan, that's just cool. Daniel Day Kim, Benedict Wong, Sandra Oh. There's so many names.
Is Benedict Wong the same guy who plays Wong in Doctor Strange?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, it's all clicking for you now. And to make it even crazier, he plays Tuong in this movie.
I'm okay with that. He's essentially, he's just a digital version of Wong.
He's just like, I will take no roles that don't rhyme or that isn't exactly my name already.
And like the thing is, he looks like him in real life. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm sure he's got an extra eye and stuff.
Yeah, maybe not as comically burly, but still. And I didn't realize they had Sandra Oh in this movie. I didn't know she was one of the actresses in here.
I believe she was the chieftain
Of
Mama
Fang?
the princess of Fang.
Yeah. And last but not least, I just want to mention this is Alan Tudyk because he's always around as the random side characters in movies. He was Tuk Tuk, voice of Tuk Tuk, which I think is adorable. He often plays those roles. He was like I think he was the chicken in Moana, for example.
Yes. He was KX or K93 in Star Wars.
K2SO, yeah.
K2SO, that's right. Yeah, he plays a lot of like non-human characters really, really well.
Right? I love that. Okay, so with Raya and the Last Dragon, what are it's not a musical, that's one thing. Did you feel like this movie needed a musical, or did you feel like they needed songs in this movie?
I think it would have been strange if they added a song, because in very few other Disney movies does it start off like with such a somber tone. Yeah. Because like I said before, they start off with her in the wasteland already. So it'd be weird if she was singing in a wasteland full of like stone people that, you know, were essentially had the life drained out of them by demon monsters.
Yes. Oh, so cool. Those Drew monsters look super cool.
Kind of like Ghastly from Pokemon.
Kind of like Ghastly. Kind of like Ghastly. Yes. Good call. Good call. Just like an ominous purple cloud that's going to come get you. Yeah. What else? I would agree. Like if they added because this is a Disney princess film, which is it's interesting because we haven't had a warrior Disney princess, at least in the animated stuff, in a little bit of time, right? Like I guess in recent years we've had Moana. I'm not sure if she counts as a princess, but let's just say she does. Elsa, who also is very capable. But
I think the girl from Brave as well.
Brave, Merida.
Yeah, Merida was also a warrior.
But I think about when I think of a warrior princess, I think of Mulan. I think about ass kicker Mulan, right?
The weird thing is, if I think we really think about it, I don't think Mulan is actually a princess.
Yeah, I don't know, but she sometimes shows up with those princesses in random stuff. So I feel like they're just no, she is a princess.
Maybe they found some long lost royal lineage for Shang or something like that.
Right? If
maybe
she got married to Shang, well, that would make her. It doesn't matter. No. I just mean it's been a while since we've got maybe it's just a sword fighting princess or something. And I was thinking about this movie because she is a very capable warrior, Raya. She knows how to fight. It's not like she needs to learn the skills to fight because she's a woman. It's she is a woman that just knows how to fight. That's it. She can kick ass, which I really enjoy. And this movie, spoilers, is does not hinge on a love story. You know, not a romance or anything like that.
No, I mean, I think this is one of the singular Disney movies where the love aspect is parental love.
Yeah.
Because all she just wants is, she's like, at one point or another, she says like, I don't care about this. I just want to like save my ba, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so it depicts her as like, you know, someone who's like, I can understand the situation. I'm not just in this for a boy.
Yeah, and that's what I really like about this movie. Like it's just it's so cool. Like I don't even with this movie I don't even think about like, oh, what if Raya was a boy? You know what I mean? Like cuz you could see if this movie was made 20 years ago, Raya would be a boy, right?
And she would have a love interest that she would meet halfway through her journey.
Exactly.
Totally.
It would be that, but like I'm so happy we're moving towards these movies that are just more like seamlessly like you're integrating representation like with the Southeast culture, as well as just badass women who are just badass. And it's not like this, because we've had a couple years and I believe we'll keep having it for a little while, where you got to really shine a light on it to be like, hey, it's a woman who's kicking ass. Look at this. And they'll like go like shine a spotlight being like, look what bone we're throwing. We're just casting this woman who's badass, blah, blah, blah. And like, I think of like, and I did like this moment, but it was very like kind of like cringy in Avengers Endgame where they have the shot of all the women together. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, this is cool, but also like they really hammed it up. Where Raya, they don't do that. It's not like because she's a woman, it's this. It's just like, oh no, she's just a badass and that's it. Like that's all you got to care about.
And it was cool that it wasn't like they didn't just have her. There was like all the people in Fang were like women. Her Nabari was also a woman. And then like we got to see that like, hey, it's not just singular, like a token person, you know? And so it was cool. It's like they you know, they made that decision and they're like, you know, we're gonna showcase this. And that's good.
That's do you have any favorite moments in the movie at all? Now we're really in spoiler territory.
Really spoilers.
Yeah.
I think the best moment was like when she's getting the first gem, and they're in that like place, and there's like that skeleton that holds onto the gem, and then Nabari comes in, and she's all like badass, and she's like, "Well, I beat you once before," and she's like, "Oh yeah, well, I found Sisu," and then like she had just gotten that like transformation power, and then she's like, yeah, it's my friend Sisu. And this like kind of like crazy girl just comes up. She's like, hi, I'm Sisu. And like, she probably is like, yo, this girl is just, she's been in the desert for way too long.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought, man, I really liked a lot of this movie. This is a movie that I definitely see like watching again because it's just, I don't know if it's just because I connect with it because I'm seeing like, I mean, it's a fantasy world, but I'm saying I see some of my people in there in a way, you know, it's just like, this is my kind of movie. And I think I alluded to this earlier. I really love just like this video game, like not culture, but like a video game, like progression in this movie where it's just like, we got to get the gems. Every time we get a gem, we get a power up for the dragon friend. You know what I mean?
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. And now the dragon has fog power. Oh my God. Now it can make it rain. Oh, now you can walk on clouds. And it's like, it clicks all the boxes in my head.
It's funny that you had said that this gave you a Avatar sort of vibe, because I remember when they first showcased images of Raya as the little girl Raya, everyone was like, "That's just Avatar Korra." Like, what are you trying to pull the wool on her eyes, man? Like, that's just Avatar Korra.
Yeah, she kind of does look like that when she's younger, for sure. What I think is super impressive about this movie is, and I was looking at some stuff last night, and it looks like about 95% of this movie was done remotely, which is insane. Yeah.
Now, I heard that Disney is moving towards a little bit more of like a mocap type thing, where like because obviously back in the day, you draw everything by hand on little slides and paint them and stuff. But then like nowadays, people are doing mocap and they're just overlaying the animations on top of the mocap.
Yeah.
And it makes for a much more realistic sequencing. And as you see in Raya, when she's doing her sword fighting, like it was super realistic.
Yeah.
I guess like one of the things that people don't know about me is like I've done a little bit of sword fighting myself back in the day, and so like to see that, I'm like, that's accurate. Wow,
that's really cool. Oh, that's a really cool insight, because it's you're living the dream of you were actually sword fighting back when you were a kid, where I would just swing a Dollarama sword around and then get in trouble because I knock stuff over and break shit. That's yeah. What was I gonna say? You made me think of something there. It'll come back. It'll come back. I got it. Rotoscoping. That's what that form of animation is, and it's actually been around for a long time. We talk about it on Disney Dummies a lot. The other podcast in Podgavern, go check it out. But one of our hosts is an animator, so she's been talking about rotoscoping, the act of basically drawing over people who do the actions, and it's cool to see that that style of animation is moving forward, because I mean it's really cool to animate real life shit. Like an accurate sword swing, for example. How would you know otherwise if you don't get someone to do it for you, I guess?
And I mean, like, not every animator is going to know about swords. Not every animator is going to know about how a lion walks or something like that. So very important as a way to like, movies are just getting more and more real.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's going back to like the remote aspect of it. It's very impressive they were able to pull this off. And it kind of goes to show that like Disney has so much fucking money. Like it's like like, oh my God, like if you're able to do that all remotely, like holy shit. Like I was reading a thing where Kelly Mary Tran was talking about how Disney basically sent her like a tent, like all of this audio engineering equipment to record in like a secluded space and all this stuff. And like, if you didn't know this movie was made remotely, you would never know. It just sounds like the regular movie.
Honestly, I did not know that till you told me. So like, I thought this was done in a studio and everything. So that is really impressive.
It was done over 450 homes. And like, for voice actors, they send them like all this expensive stuff, I have to imagine. I guess they don't get to keep it, but still. And then like animators, and going back to our friend Sam, she works remotely too, and it's kind of, and I do as well, and it's kind of like going to this question of like how important is it to have an office environment anymore? Honestly, if you can do this all remotely.
I think, I mean, obviously, okay, so there are certain downsides to working from home, but I remember when I was working from home before, I was so happy. My commute time was cut down to like the 30 seconds it took for me to roll out of bed and get to my desk chair.
Yeah. And I'm still late somehow.
And then, like when I'm going for lunch, I can just go and make myself some lunch. So it's all hot, it's all nice, I'm saving money and stuff. So I honestly really enjoy working from home.
Yeah. I think there's like a little bit of stir crazy sometimes, like your after work life is kind of similar to your regular day life. It's the same environment, but they're clearly with this movie, it's a showcase that this can work. It's fascinating, but I don't know like how practical it is to send billions of dollars of audio equipment to you just to record a couple grunts. If you're like Villager 2, for example,
or if you're like Alan Tudyk and all you do is like,
that's funny that you mentioned that. Is that I think we're kind of alluding to this movie as a kind of more serious tone movie. And I think there is aspects of it being a little bit more serious here and there, but like overall it's still Disney, so there's a lot of joy in this film too. You want to talk about like, I guess the differentiate, like how they balance the two stuff in this movie?
I think it was like so Raya, obviously we said spoiler alert, but like Raya is, this tough, determined person, but then she's like balanced off by like Sisu, who is like bouncy and giggly and Aquafina. And so it's kind of like one of the characters that I like to allude Sisu to is she's kind of like a less animated but like still great genie, because she's everywhere. She has all these like opinions. She has all these powers that she like puts into her jokes as well and stuff. And so like when I see her, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm kind of reminded of how Genie is.
Yeah. Not as crazy as Genie, but I can see where you're going for here.
Like a toned down Genie.
A toned down Genie. But Sisu is a very fun character in this movie. She is, spoilers, the last dragon. And
she's in the title, guys.
She's in the title. And I think she's in the promo stuff too. And it's really a journey between these two here. The human that's a little bitter, wants to bring back her dad, but her dad's like, not dying wish because he doesn't die, he turns to stone, is like, I want to bring people together. So it's kind of like a fun journey to see Sisu, this dragon, be like, no, we can bring people together. I'm not the best dragon, but you got to believe me. And it's just, I don't know. It's cute. It's Disney.
I think one of the greatest things is that like Disney doesn't try to keep everything within this universe, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of the jokes, like Sisu talks about, group projects and being that one kid that just handed it in and then got the same mark as everyone else. And like, clearly you're in Kumandra. You have no idea what a group project is.
Yeah. I actually saw a little criticism on that aspect, being like, oh, and Disney broke the world by saying a joke like that. I'm like, dude, calm down. It's like an animated movie. Like it's fine. You'll live. Like the joke's fun on its own.
Like I think, and it's not something that's unheard of, because like Disney did that with like Mushu. Genie did an Al Pacino impression. So I mean, like, come on, man, just chill out. It's a Disney movie.
It's a Disney movie. They're allowed to break the walls every now and then, right? Because every now and then it's just like, don't like take this movie seriously, quote unquote. But like, don't take it seriously. Like, have fun with it. That's what this movie's for. It's to have fun, right? So, yeah. Oh, the music in this movie too. Like we talked about, like songs that don't exist in this movie. But like the actual just score in this movie, I found very different and fascinating. What do you think?
I think it was like, to a certain degree, I know. I'm sorry, I don't know, but I feel like Disney knew that they weren't going to have any songs in this. So like they definitely put time into creating like a score that would really underlie the moments, because they didn't have the ability to, sing about the moments. So like when Sisu's running through the sky and she's carrying Raya back to heart, like you feel that, like it really just, it's a feeling of coming home, and like they do it through the score instead of having Raya sing about going home.
Yeah. And like on the other side of that, they have like Raya just walking like a fucking badass. Like she's just has her like straw hat, just like doing like a slow walk, about to kick some ass. And in those moments, they have like a different score. They have like a more like, I don't know how to describe it, but it sounds very Asian inspired, I guess, and different instruments that you would only hear from like Asian type of songs, but like played really fast and stuff like that. And in those moments, I got really hyped up because I'm like, ooh, Raya's going to kick some ass.
Oh, yeah.
And then she does.
And I think a good way to describe it is when she was walking with her straw hat and that Asian music, I got a really big Po vibe from Kung Fu Panda at the very beginning. Yeah. Where he's like, oh, look, it's the panda. He's going to do some awesome stuff with awesome stuff going to do them. And, like she's also walking, but like Po is like narrating that himself. He's like clearly not an awesome guy, but he's like trying to make himself feel awesome. And then Raya is just, she's not saying anything. And then she's just feeling awesome. She makes you feel like, oh yeah, I'm a badass.
Yeah, she is probably one of my favorites Disney princesses or characters in the last little while. I can't put my finger on it exactly. Like, I don't want to say she's just a badass, but she's definitely capable. We talked about how great of a warrior she is, but she's also like warm and funny as well. And as the movie progresses and she meets like this family of random characters who feel like they're out of place and then they all come together, but like they all come together because they all believe in the mission of bringing the world together, but also they've all lost something as well. It's a cool little misfits kind of feeling that I kind of got Guardians of the Galaxy vibes from, especially towards the end when they have to like, and this is spoilers again, where they're like handing Namari all the gems and they turn to stone, but like around them, there's like this purple shit going on. I'm like, that's just the endings of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Like the end of a Guardians of the Galaxy.
Doesn't end in a dance battle, but it's pretty damn similar. So, yeah.
Actually, I think one of the things that I read on the internet was that like some of the people were saying that Raya reminds them of like a badass girl anime character. And that was one of the things that they really like identified with because, you know, there's no songs. It's great score. She's got a sword.
Yeah.
Going around collecting gems. Not unlike another anime that we talked about with a big sword and going around collecting gems.
Yeah. I think Raya is just super interesting. I think she's a great character. And Kelly Mary Tran was also alluding. I'm not sure if she's alluding. She might have just said this. And there's already been a ton of fan art out there. But apparently Raya's sexual preference is not specified. And Kelly Mary Tran's like, hey, if you think she's gay, like she's super gay then, like, you know, like, or if you think she's like, there's no hint of like what way she leans towards, but the movie's not about that. So that doesn't even matter, you know?
I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like, I mean, if she was, would that stop her from collecting the dragon gems? Probably not.
No, I think it would just affect because people are like shipping Raya and Namari and they're like, oh, these two friends who turned rivals should be lovers. So
it's a kid show.
Yeah, it's like, okay. Yeah, come on. But people, it won't stop people. I mean, we just had our Lola Bunny conversation.
That is true. That is true.
Another thing the last thing, just one more thing here is that like I noticed that there was no true bad guy in this movie. What do you think about that?
I think they were, because I noticed that was a thing that happened in Frozen as well, right? It was just about a force that you couldn't control. And then, you know, coming to terms with it. Because, you know, I think the movie with Raya and I guess Frozen, it was like to say that there's no bad guy necessarily. There's just people on two different sides or misunderstandings about certain issues, like especially with Raya. So we have Namari wanting to do something good for her land, her village. And I think like people were saying that like Namari was saying like all the stuff about, oh, hey, we haven't had rice in a really long time. People were like, oh, she was just trying to make Raya feel bad. So she would take her the dragon gem. But on my part, I don't think she was lying. Yeah. I think that Fang was just going through a really hard time. And she's like, okay, I know this is wrong. I know we shouldn't have done this, but like, it's either this or my people dying. And she made a really hard choice. And so it's all about perspectives here. And I think the movie pushes that narrative along.
Yeah, I agree. Like the biggest bad guy are like the Droon, which is like your Gaslies, your purple clouds and stuff like that. I guess in Frozen, they also have the Hans was the like I guess the heel turn in that movie where he turns out to be a super bad guy. But with like this one, they set up Namari and Fang as a whole to be like, these are bad people. But it's like, you're right. They're not. They're just they don't believe in a world where they can all come together. So they're really just protecting their own. But when Namari sees Sisu for the first time, the dragon, it's like, oh, maybe there's hope for us to like come together. And that's the interesting thing in this movie, right?
Yeah. I mean, because like for them, they hadn't seen a dragon in 500 years. So it was almost like oh my God, if something like this can exist, then maybe something as crazy as us all being together and working together and you know, living in harmony isn't so crazy. I mean, there's a fucking dragon in front of me.
And then in the end of the movie, spoilers, there's a zillion dragons. So
Okay, so that also confused me a little bit because for the last time they used the gem, none of the dragons came back.
Yeah.
And then this time,
Yep.
the dragons came back. And I was like,
Yep. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it's because it didn't work fully last time. I don't know. Something must have happened where it didn't fully work last time, but this time through the power of friendship, which is what it literally the power of friendship and trust, everything came together.
Like it wasn't even alluded. They literally said it's like what the dragon wants is for us to trust each other.
Yeah, I wonder if that's what it is. Maybe it's just like the people have to trust as well, not just the dragons. I'm making this up, but like last time there was like the dragons chose to trust each other and it only half didn't really wipe out everything. And in this one, the people trusted each other and it wiped out everything. So I'm just, and last time people went to war because of that, right? That's when like Fang, Heart, Spine, they all like kind of started fighting each other. But like I said, I'm making this up. I don't actually know why the dragons came back at the end, but it was a cool visual.
Yeah. No, it was definitely really, really cool. And I think they just wanted to have that one scene where the dragons could run through the sky all together. And I'm like, you know what?
Take it. I'll take it.
Doesn't matter. It happens because a wizard did it.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that's about all I have to say about Raya and the Last Dragon. At the end of the day, for me, I really, really, really like this film. I definitely see myself watching it again. I think it's not really a criticism. I'll just say like the Disney formula works is kind of the lesson. They found a way to modernize the Disney formula. And because I'm saying the word formula, I think there might be some aspects of it that are very on the nose and you can see coming and stuff like that. So like, while I do like this movie a lot, I don't think it's really emotionally charged me or changed. It's not like some Pixar movies where it's just like this mind-bending thing that like unlocks some secret emotion inside of me. I don't think that's what this movie is, but I had a lot of joy watching it.
I agree. I think again, it's not something that's going to blow your mind, but I think to see the certain representation does warm your heart, and I think that's one of the big aspects of it as well. So
yeah. I agree. All right, Kalvin, do you want to rate this movie?
I'm going to say 8.5 out of 10 because I think that it deserves to get that nice A there.
Okay. Okay. And if you had to rate it on a scale that's completely not on a numbered scale, what would you rate it?
Okay. I would rate it a war turtle. Out of a Squirtle, Wartortle, and Blastoise scale.
Oh, wow. Okay. A little Pokemon reference for you all there. And I would give it 3 hook shot swords that are curvy over 1, let's see, 1 broken dragon gem.
That's good. Oh, that's good. High praise.
That's good. I just can't get over that sword. It's so freaking cool. It's a hookshot sword. And it's a whip.
I think there's a Soul Calibur character that uses that exact same weapon.
I'm like, that's genius.
Exactly.
You can fight with it. You can get from places. You can use it as like a Castlevania whip. Are you kidding me? All right. Well, anyways, that's Raya and the Last Dragon, everyone. Very happy to talk about this movie with you today, Kalvin.
No worries. I'm glad to be here and glad to talk about Raya the Last Dragon.
And a lot about anime, apparently.
Yes. Yes.
Kalvin, do you have anything to plug for the people at home?
Well, I mean, you guys can, if you enjoy our yammering and my yammering specifically, you can listen to our podcast, Trà Time podcast, which I do with my co-host, Yasher Huang. We talk about all things Asian North American.
Very cool. I need to pick your brain about this afterwards.
Yes, please do.
Can you give that name for the people again?
Sure. It's Trà Time podcast, spelled Tra Time podcast.
You can't see this at home, people, but it looks like Kalvin had the hardest time with the word time rather than the beginning of that sentence.
Just kind of stop there. Like, how do I spell time again? Oh, shit.
T. Oh, damn it. I'll just say time. That's amazing, Kalvin. Well, that's it for us today. You can find the rest of the shows in the Pod Cavern at www.podcavern.com. Check out all the shows. Kalvin will, I'm sure, smoke bomb his way back into the Pod Cavern somehow. Superhero landing on top of the cave here. Or what else will he do? Ride in from a dragon. He is a dragon, so he'll just magically
Let's go
morph.
with that.
Are you the last dragon, though?
Actually, I hope not. I hope there's more of us, actually.
That's a lot of responsibility. Well, Kalvin, thank you so much. Do you want to give your world famous catchphrase?
Yes, of course. Thank you, and good night.
Bye, everyone.
Later.